Hey, welcome. I'm the crypto coach, Blockchain Wayne. Want to talk to you in this video about security. It's time for a security checkup. That's what we're calling this video because security is one of the most important things, not just when it comes to cryptocurrency, but when it comes to anything you do online, virtually. There's steps that you can take. And there's also a lot of things that people do that are lazy that we're going to talk about today in this video for you to avoid so you don't make those same mistakes. Because it is very important, especially in cryptocurrency, because you are responsible for your own security. You want to know who's responsible if something happens? Look at the person in the mirror. So you have to take the steps to make it harder for people to be able to access your accounts or anything on your computer or your phone. If they try to hack it, hackers look for the path of least resistance. So the more steps you take, the less chance there is for you to be targeted when it comes to attacks. So let's take a look. I'm gonna share some screens with you just to show you some tips and tricks when it comes to security. If you fall into any of these buckets where maybe you're laxed in these areas, take the steps now. It's never too late to upgrade your security. So first and foremost, one of the first things I like to talk about is email. Now, you can use any email server. Many people use Gmail or Hotmail or Yahoo. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. But what I typically recommend when it comes to email is, at the minimum, use a different email for your financial accounts like cryptocurrency exchanges, financial exchanges, even like your bank accounts and things like that that have sensitive financial information. Don't use the same email that you give out publicly to everyone, the same one you've been using since you were a teenager, or the same one that you give to every retailer's rewards program. You just sign up for anything and everything. Don't use that same email, because typically, we'll talk about it again when we get to passwords, but typically people have poor password security. And then if someone knows that that email is also tied to a financial account, then they can target that because they may get the credentials and information from hacking. You've heard of Target and Home Depot and other retailers have their customer databases hacked. And really, there's only two types of companies when it comes to safeguarding your personal information. Either those that have been hacked or those that will be hacked. It's a centralized system with a single point of failure, with a honeypot. If anybody can crack that, they get access to thousands, in many cases, hundreds of thousands or even millions of email addresses, along with passwords that may also be used in other places where they could benefit financially. So first and foremost, create a new email account for each financial account that you use. Don't give that email out publicly. I recommend, the reason I brought up Proton Mail, it's a very secure email service. You don't have to use them, but it's a free option you can utilize as well. I use Proton Mail personally, and I can tell you the ones that I have linked to my financial accounts, people will never be able to guess what they are, and I don't share those publicly. Yet I have a couple of emails, Gmail addresses that I'll share publicly, and one of them is for junk mail and the other one is for just general mail. But my sensitive information, I do not use a regular email account for. Next step, let's talk about authentication. So one of the first things that happens whenever you set up accounts is just about every account. Now, whether it's financial or non-financial accounts, even Facebook, even Gmail, they will ask you to set up a two-factor authentication. Now, the least secure of those two-factor authentications is either SMS, which is text message, or email. Why is that? Because if someone is able to hack my phone, then once they get that code, they'll be able to easily reset information and access my accounts. It's happened many times. There's things called SIM swapping. If you haven't heard of SIM swapping, what SIM swapping is hackers will either call or go into a store, pretend to be you, and have service moves. So when you buy a new phone, they shift the service from the SIM on the old phone to the SIM on the new phone. Legitimately, that's what happens all the time. In a SIM swap attack, someone pretends to be you. They move service from your phone that you have in your possession to a phone that they have in their possession, and then they start to target those financial accounts where they can drain them by easily having access through resetting passwords, using text message, SMS notifications. Same thing with email. If your email is hacked and you have email verification, easy to get into. So there's steps you can take, two-factor authentication, that are more secure. One of them being an authenticator app. Google Authenticator is one of the most popular ones. People also use Authy. So what this is you're able to sync up each account to a time-based code that changes every 30 seconds. So once I log into an account with my username and password, I have to open up Google Authenticator on my phone. And once I open it up, then I'm able to enter that code before it changes, and that allows me to log in. So even if a hacker was able to get my username and my password, they still wouldn't have access with that two-factor authentication in place. So the app is more secure than the other methods we talk about. And now let's talk about the most secure. If you want to really get serious about security, would be a physical security key. Now, Yubico is one of the most popular ones. It's used by organizations, for companies, and also used by individuals. Me personally, I have one, the one you see on the screen above my head. I've got it right here. And with this, I've actually got multiple security keys. That way, if this one gets lost, I have another one in a safe and secure place that if I need a backup, I've got a backup. So the way it works is once I log in with username or password, it's got a spot to where I can plug it into a USB drive on a computer, or if I'm doing it on my phone, it has built-in NFC to where I just tap the back of my phone. That's one. They also make some that plug into the Apple Lightning, the charging ports, and also those that'll plug into USB-C, which is used in a lot of Android devices. So there's multiple devices available to where you can go. You can see it's very easy to set up, very easy to use. You can see some of the pictures here of the ones that are available. Now, just so you know, as we go through these different companies, this is not an endorsement by FIO on any of these companies. I'm sharing with you the ones that I personally use and know about. And if you actually, if you want to use them, I recommend you do your own security, do your own checkup, do your own research, look up the reviews on them, see what they have to say. But these are just options that are available if you want to upgrade your security. As I mentioned before, you and only you are responsible for your security. You can see here they got multiple keys that can plug into different devices. So those are different things that you can do to protect yourself. So that's two-factor authentication. So let's talk next about making sure you're navigating to the right websites. Now, when I say the right websites, it's very important when you're trying to look up something, you don't just Google it, because if it's something that's really hot and trending, you could have scammers that make replicate websites to look like the legitimate ones to steal your information. Think about this. If I make a fake Coinbase account and you Google Coinbase and you click on my page instead of the real one, you go there, what's the first thing you're gonna try to do is log in. Guess what? Now I've got your username and your password. So some of these websites are a lot more malicious in the fact that they could prompt you to plug in your MetaMask wallet and restore your MetaMask wallet by entering your security key, your private key, or your seed phrase, what we talk about. So it's important to make sure you're navigating to the right website. So when it comes to crypto, CoinGecko.com is one I recommend, or also CoinMarketCap.com. So what you do to those is, say it's a particular cryptocurrency. If I want to look up that cryptocurrency, I will find it on the list or search, and then when I click on it, say I want to learn more about Solana. I will click on Solana, and yeah, it's going to give me market price and other information, but over here on the right side, right above my head, you can see it's got the website, the legitimate website. It links me to their socials and other things related to Solana that have been verified as legit. So this is where you can get that correct information. If you view these on your phone, you typically have to hit the see more button on it, but you can see it as well from there. So if I hit that website, it then takes me to the legitimate website. As you can see, I know I'm not on a fake scam site as far as that goes. Now, next thing, I can also search exchanges and do the same thing if I'm trying to find a particular exchange that I want to trade on, whether it's a regular centralized exchange, a decentralized exchange, or anything like that. I can find those on here and click through to the right links. It's very important. Last year when Uniswap was at its peak, when everybody was jumping into DeFi, last summer Uniswap was just hot. If you Googled Uniswap at one point, I had a screenshot that I had saved in my phone forever. I would share it with people. There were 4 fake Uniswap websites that came up in the Google search results ahead of the actual legitimate website. Now, eventually they are taken down, but you don't want to take your chance. So make sure you're using legitimate websites. When in doubt, ask someone, check with someone. Any website that's asking you to enter any kind of sensitive or personal information, don't do it. Also, emails. When you get emails that may look like they're from Coinbase or they're from other financial entities, whether it could be Binance or any other exchange or any other anything that you use and they're asking you to click on something in a link, I refuse to click on any links in an email. I will typically look at what that website URL is and see if it matches the company's website and then navigate to it through there, because there's also been a lot of fake emails and text messages sent out with fake links that scam people, get them into clicking on them, and then they're able to take their money. So your security is important. It's very important that you do that. So let's talk about wallets. There's different things. We have another video on wallets to where you can go through and learn about the different types of wallets. I will say anything that you're not actively trading, trading or planning to sell anytime soon, it's best to put it in a hardware wallet. So Ledger and Trezor, they're not the only two, they're the two most popular. There are some other great hardware wallets. I recommend you look into those, see what they are, and store your crypto. If you're not going to actively be buying or selling your crypto, then move it to a cold storage wallet to pull it offline. Now, any wallets that you set up, you are going to get a seed phrase. You'll hear it called a backup phrase, seed phrase, security phrase. It's basically, it's long form of your private keys. It gives you access to that wallet. And if anything happens to it, whether it's your hardware wallet or a hot wallet you may have downloaded on a mobile phone, if you need to restore that wallet, that 12 to 24 string of words is what will restore that wallet for you. It's also a way, if you don't keep that secure, you could lose it. So if you lose access to those seed phrases, there's no customer service you can call to restore, reset your password and let you in. You're responsible for it. So it's very, very important you don't take any lax approaches to that, because that's your vault, that's your security. You should have at least two different backups. Most physical wallets, whenever you buy them, they'll send a physical card that you can write those 12 to 24 words on. But there's other things you can do. Don't save them on the notepad on your phone. Don't save them on a Google document or a Word document. That's how I've heard of people getting hacked. People that I know that have saved them on their phone or saved them in a notepad, and then their phone gets hacked, and now someone has access to those words. And as more and more people realize that those are related to crypto accounts, they're able to easily steal and drain those accounts. Saw someone in 2017 did that with an Exodus wallet. Now, Exodus is very secure, but what happened was where they stored their backup seed phrases, that was compromised, and someone was able to drain 10 Bitcoin from them at that time. I'm sure you can imagine how devastating that is. There's even some companies like this one here, Billfoldle and others, that make a metal key. So a paper card could be lost in fire or flood, but these metal cards have metal punch outs to where you can store the words, the seed phrases on these metal cards, and then put them in somewhere safe and secure, like an actual safe. Those are great places to put them. Do it in multiple places, but you can get those. There's multiple different kinds. Do your research. There's also websites that grade these based on how they perform when it comes to wear and tear and fire, and you can see how they perform. Not all are created equal, so pick the best one for you. So that's what it is really when it comes to security. The last thing I'm going to talk to you about as we shift back from that screen share is password management. Your password management is very important. People get lazy and use the same password on everything. Do not do that. Do not use the same password on everything. That's how people get hacked. Make sure your password is a long string of letters and numbers and special characters that's very hard to guess. You can make it easy for you to remember and hard for people to guess. Here's some tips that I like to say is, instead of making it just a word, make it a short sentence. And on that sentence, replace some of the letters and numbers with special characters. So instead of an I, maybe use an exclamation point. Instead of an O, use a zero. Instead of an H, use a hashtag, pound sign for those of you that are used to calling it that. So mix it up, but make it to where it's a long string of letters and numbers. Like, I'll give you an example. Don't use this one, but it could be I love crypto. And instead of the I, you put an exclamation point. Instead of the O on love, it could be the 0. Instead of the E, it could be a 3. Yeah, it's backwards, but when you look at it, it'll easily be able to be read. And same thing with crypto. The O at the end of crypto could be a 0, and then you can end it with another exclamation point or whatever the case may be. So mix it up, but make it complex, and don't use the same password for everything. There are password managers out there. I just tell you to do your research on those. Make sure you pick one that's reputable. There have been some issues with that to where it allows you to remotely store your passwords. But in any case, even your access to that is with a password. So make sure you're safe and secure. There's no point in having a password manager if to access your password manager is the same password you used to use on everything, every account you used to have, because any of those accounts get hacked, then they're going to try to use those passwords in places where it could be sensitive information that could give a hacker access to, financial gain. So that's important when it comes to security. Don't get lazy. Make sure you do a security checkup based on what you heard today. If you're not following any of these, it's never too late to start. It's never too late to take a step up. Ensure your security. As I mentioned earlier in the beginning, is that hackers look for the path of least resistance. So make sure that's not you. They're going to go to other places if you just make sure you take some certain security steps to protect yourself. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon in a future video.